Well, now we have been discussing very, wide issue, excellent issues, okay, both from the prominent scholars from both China or Japan. And now let's ask a little bit down to earth to the topic of more specific or empiric. Okay. It is a topic about the infrastructure. Okay. I know this is quite new stream of research for IR student, but I would like to inspire you how to use the case study from the bottom of the soil of our nation and to to take up or further to abstract it, okay, into the one or two good points that we can discuss in the class or in our paper. This is the political economy of China policies. Specifically, okay, we are going to talk about the motive, rational, characteristic of China infrastructure in Southeast Asia. And we argue that the China infrastructure to Southeast Asia is mainly because, or the main reason is that based on the business to business consideration, rather than more, let's say, political conditionality, okay, or in other reason that basically or generally given or attached to any particular aid from the developed countries. Okay, so this is the basic idea. So in the last of my presentation, I will show you the differences between the China infrastructure between the Africa and Southeast Asia. So hoping that by the end of this presentation that you will understand what's the differences between the China infrastructure in Africa and Southeast Asia. Okay, next please. So basically this is the content. So if you would like to know the detail, then you read our paper. Okay, just to skip it. Yes. Now I would like to start with this. Yeah. Do you know what kind of picture are there? Yeah? What is that? And the right side, this is, Indiana Jones Bridge, right? Right. If you read the newspapers the last few months or the last few weeks, okay, or even in the social media, then you will see this. Okay? I don't know, maybe some of you already forward this paper or this picture to other people. What is the problem here? And what is the other picture? What is that? Kutai Kartanegara Bridge that has just collapsed, last year I think. Okay. In Kalimantan, right? Yeah. Benar Kalimantan. Okay. I think in Kalimantan, Kutai Kartanegara. So just I think it has just been built less than 10 years. Okay? So you can imagine. What I want to show you here is that the importance of the infrastructure in developing countries. This is just only the anecdotal example of the importance of infrastructure in Indonesia. We can see the other part of Southeast Asian countries, or even in African countries. Next. Yes. Now, I think the last 10 years, mostly along with all the professors' presentation here, that we have witnessed the mounting of the investment, or not only investment, but also the aid donor from the China, increasing China aid donor, okay, and not only from the OECD. Then please go ahead, Mr. Pamungkas. The China, before joining to the WTO, but it's getting better and getting higher and getting intense to donate the China's aid to other developing countries in the recent year, both in Africa and in Southeast Asia. So you can read here the further China's economic involvement in developing countries, including infrastructure into Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. So this is the last characteristic that we can show, or we can learn what have been done by China. Okay? Not only investment and trade. Next, please. Okay, just let's see what happened in Africa. China has been there for a long time, and then the significant number of China infrastructure project, for example, Tanzania and Zambia railway project, highways, and the other, China has been facilitated the construction of several mining projects, plus modernizing transportation system in Africa. And the important thing that here that we would like to emphasize is that China, along with other African countries, creates the regional arrangement, so-called the Forum on China-African Cooperation, VOCAC. So this is we found later on that the regional arrangement in Africa is so instrumental compared to the existing regional arrangement in Southeast Asia. Okay. Next, please. Now, what happened in Southeast Asia? Okay, as you know that the shifting from the South Asia or West Asia to the Southeast Asia has been, tremendously increasing, particularly since the end of the Cold War. And the other thing is that if we see the typology of a donor infrastructure in Southeast Asia, that was mostly China has been the most preferable donor countries. We learned that even the interest rate is higher compared to others countries, but we still researching, or we still looking for what is the reason, the main reason. The other countries look for the infrastructure aid from China. Maybe our colleague from China can give us this, some insight on that. Okay. And the second typology is that subcontractor component and labor are mostly imported from China. So if you see now that not only the system, not only the people, not only the machineries, okay, are imported from China. This is the reality if you go to the field. Okay. And the third one has no attached value. Okay, this is still debatable if we say about the no attached value. But we mean here is that no political conditionality. If you ask the Chinese people, if you ask the Chinese government, we learned this morning. Okay? We have to give, take, and give. We can talk each other. No freelance. Okay? This is kind of the quote-unquote philosophy of the Chinese. I don't know exactly whether this is true or not, but from our findings we can see that compared to other countries donor to Indonesia, that mostly the donor countries from Western countries always required Indonesia with the strengthened democracy. What else? Human rights. Anything. Okay. But in the case of China infrastructure, don't worry about that. As long as we can do business, okay, as long as I'm happy and you are happy, let's shake hands and build the bridge. Okay? That's as simple as that. Okay. Next, strengthen the tie under externalities of ASEAN-China FTA. Okay. This is related with the regional arrangement in this area. Okay. In Southeast Asia, we have ASEAN. This already exists a regional arrangement if we compare to the African. And then China came together with to ASEAN and then discuss, talk. Okay. But on the other hand, there's an effect, a side effect that ASEAN as a hub because it's the strength of ASEAN. Therefore, the Chinese government cannot easily drive the ASEAN countries, okay, to follow her intention. Sorry. Okay. So they create the ASEAN-China FTA, and then they do what we call it the more bilateral agreement between the China and each ASEAN countries. And here, what I want to emphasize is that we see the, to some extent, paradoxical characteristic. And one thing, there is a regional arrangement using the ASEAN and using the ASEAN-China FTA. But on the other hand, China also maintained the relation with the other countries in ASEAN with the bilateral relations. Okay. So the last point is that most of the infrastructure consumer urban, more market orientation with lesser energy security policy compared to Africa. If we understand what happened or what have been doing in Africa to move in energy, in Southeast Asia, China has just begun to cultivate the energy. But what he did was that creating the infrastructure, the basic infrastructure first, creating, creating a road, bridge, okay, connecting the China and other ASEAN countries. But the next level, okay, as shown in my book, The Strategy of Three Dragons, that China, supported by the government, is starting to cultivate or to search for the energy, including in Indonesia. Okay. Next one, please. Yeah, this is the final findings of our research here. That we found this is, I think, interesting characteristic that we can compare between the African and Southeast Asia, and we call it for the African type as a regional arrangement endorsed infrastructure aid. Why? Because here we found that along with 5 elements, bilateral agreements, okay, both in Africa and Southeast Asia exist, political conditionality, both are not attached to value of the political side. Remember, as long as I'm happy, you are happy, let's do it. And then economic externalities, that both sides found that, and then spread of value. This is similar with the political conditionality, but less than if we agree with, let's say, the concept of soft power, okay, trying to pursue other people, follow our intention. But now please give your attention on the second arrangement or second element, the regional arrangement here. That we found, what's the difference? Let me tell you in brief that China, along with other African countries, create the Forum on China-African countries, which is mainly driven by China. And the meetings can be in any capital country of African, but not only that, sometimes they meet in Beijing, sometimes meet in other outside African countries. This is very interesting. But therefore, this is the forum that the elites of the country gather, they talk, they drink, they eat, then let's decide. Okay? There's a project for your country and this for your country, okay? But let me go then, our companies, our what's called national oil companies or state-owned companies, okay, invest in Nigeria, Tanzania, Zambia, okay, even in the very prone conflict country, okay, that no countries wants to go to that area. Now, this is the conclusion here. So what we can learn from both cases, China and ASEAN. This become a rising of China. I don't want to say the decline of Japan. Okay? No. Yeah? Because I was educated in Japan for 6 years. I still have attached with Japan for personal reasons. Okay. But we can see here that China and ASEAN opening up the new emerging market here in Southeast Asia, and also strongly business to business. Okay? It's only business to business. Okay? And the third one, unfair competition of construction sector. Okay. In, you know, instead of growing investment or growing infrastructure aid, but we also found that okay, the practice of illegal deal, corruption, okay, it happens. Okay. It's no wonder. No, not to mention the China's companies, okay, the civil servant 3B, okay, but you got 60 billion rupiah, right, in your pocket. And then the free value aid, not the soft power. And this is still debatable in our findings, but we say that no, later on we found that the Chinese government has also been effectively and also very active to set up the Confucius Institute. I heard that, I think we should be corrected if I'm wrong, that last year China opened 50 branches in the whole world. 50 branches of Confucius Institute. It's like, it's my imagination is like similar to JICA or COICA, right? This is like the front runner of the soft power or vehicle for Chinese government to put influence the Southeast Asian people. Okay. And the last one is an endorsement from the government. Of course, this is the infrastructure aid, okay, the donor aid. This is a formal aid conducted by government. But then, after the infrastructure donor aid is given by the government, then followed by the China's state-owned companies. Okay. You know, for example, in Indonesia, Three Dragons means that we have a China National Oil Company, we have CNPC, we have PetroChina in this country. Not to mention other countries in Africa or in other Southeast Asian countries. Okay. So this is all of my presentation, and we hope that this kind of little bit different with the more macro point of view. But what I want to ask you or to inspire you is that from the very practical, from the very empirical study, we can conduct this kind of research as part of international research, or we can invite the other scholars from as economists or cultural studies, from the political science, to do this kind of research. That will be the conclusion will be more fruitful and will be contribute to the advancement of science. Thank you very much for your listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mursitama. So, because time is a constraint, actually, because we're about to run out of time, we still have 4 more distinguished speakers talking in the political and security issues. I will just highlight some points, and hopefully the students or participants will raise questions afterwards. So, Professor Chu Chang-Hua already highlighted a lot of very enlightened us with many statistics. Hopefully, people are taking notes. You know, there's some question about intervention and the control of the United States in East Asia and the lack of mutual trust between China and Japan, which lead them to fail in cooperation. And then Professor Keiji Nakatsuchi also mentioned about the ACU, Asian Central Currency. So what do you think about this one single currency? So probably all of you also can share your opinions. And the last speakers also enlightened us about the role of the China's involvement, especially in the developing countries. And yes, that is true that China is very much involved in the developing countries. They do have a very strong ties with the African countries. And as I'm aware of, actually, all of the African students who studying in China is under a scholarship scheme program. So they do have a very, very strong cooperation. So I will just give around 15 minutes for the first three questions. All from the middle side, I guess. One from that side, the man in white. One, Lucio, you raised question before, so I will give opportunity to the lady in blue and later on. Okay, and you, okay, 4 questions. first. Okay, ladies first. Yeah, please. Please address your name and institution before you ask questions.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Siska Haryani. I represent Indonesian Defense University.